Hi everyone, this is Madhav. This is now our time to get started with Python programming. Now, there's an easy way to do it and a hard way to do it. The hardware is what, software developers in real life do, so you'll have to learn the hard way at some point. But if you're not ready for it, that's okay. We can start with the easy way. The easy way is to go to kaggle.com, you register, and it will take you to a page that looks like this. You can click create and a notebook. What is a notebook? It is just a combination of what we call cells, just places where we can type in code. This might look very complicated when you load up. So I'm just going to right click and I'm going to click delete cell. So a notebook has two types of cells, two types of content. One is just regular text, regular text. I can run this play button here, or I can press Control Enter and it will run, it just produces regular text. We can also write Python code by clicking on the code button, where we can put in any Python code we want. If you have multiple Python code cells, multiple pieces of code will execute, but we'll talk about that later. The only Python expression that I need you guys to run for now is just our equivalent of the echo command. So echo hello. We learned how in the first workshop this would be a command that just prints out whatever we put in back to the screen. In Python, that command is called print. So again, just like echo, this is gonna put stuff back on screen. I can press Control Enter or press this play button. It puts back the stuff back on screen. So if you were able to do this, you are ready to proceed with the workshops, okay? So not very complicated. I am going to show you how to do this differently on your computer instead of on this website. It will be more complicated, so if you get lost, remember you can always come back to this. Just an FYI, the way that we're going to do this, this looks bare bones. We have created notebooks for you, okay? So what you can do is, if I go to this notebook, I'm just looking at it, someone who isn't logged in. If I go to the notebook, then eventually I will be able to create a copy of it. So eventually, I will get a fork button or something like that where I can click on the notebook. And when I click on it, it creates my own copy of the notebook to edit. So don't worry, you're not going to need to, type stuff from scratch. We're going to be able to proceed rapidly. With that said, okay, with that said, I'm just going to show you here. You're going to copy and edit in the next tutorial. If you want to stick around now, I'm going to show you how to edit code on your own local computer. If it's too complicated, Kaggle is fine, okay? Just stick with Kaggle if you're learning for the first time. So if you want to edit code on your own computer, well, there's a couple of ways to do it. The first thing is, you could try to nano and then, create different files, put code in them, but that takes a really long time. Nano, as you can see, it doesn't look very good. It's not a great place to type, it's just a black screen. So we want something more fancy. Control S, Control X to exit. What we're going to be using is Visual Studio Code. So you can just search up Visual Studio Code, go to the download page and download for Windows, Linux, or Mac. It's going to take a while. You can pause. Whenever you're done, you're going to be able to open up Visual Studio Code. It's going to be a lot easier to open it up on Mac OS than on Windows, because on Windows we're going to need to install a couple of things, okay? Now, before I get you started with setting up, you're not going to see, all this. What you're going to see is probably this. So it just looks completely blank. It's just like, oh, wow, like bunch of buttons here, stuff here. What do I do? Okay. It's complicated. It's okay. We're going to walk through it. So this is a more powerful way to, and more convenient way to edit code. Before we get into actually getting you set up, I just want to show you what VS Code can do, just so you know what we're working towards. So don't worry, I'm not explaining how I'm doing things right now. It's okay. I just want you to see how I'm able to open a folder. Um, when I get to a folder, I can go to my file explorer and explore different files. I can open folders via this menu or via, command shortcuts that you'll get used to over time. Here, I can click on any file, and just like in Kaggle, I can open up notebooks and I can run stuff and things like that. I even have a command line interface like this if I need. So for example, in Git, I showed you guys how you can change between versions of a workshop. So I can run git status, I can, let's say, git checkout main. You can see the files that I have would be overwritten, something, something. So I'm just, anyways, you can use your command line, and you can use File Explorer and all of these other tabs, and also, the part where you actually run code. All of this you can use within VS Code. It's a very powerful thing. The question for you is, how do I get this set up? So regardless of whether you're on Mac or, Windows, first thing you're going to want to do is go to the extensions window, Control-Shift-X, and I have a bunch of stuff here installed, but what you're going to do is you're first of all going to search up Python, and you're going to install, there's going to be one recommended Python extension. It's going to be published by Microsoft. It's just called Python. It'll have like a banner next to it. You click it and it installs all of these other things too that you need to work with Python in VS Code. Other thing that you ought to install is Jupyter. So these notebooks that I've been showing you on Kaggle, for example, these notebooks are called Jupyter notebooks. So Jupyter, like, the planets, well, except it has a Y in it here. So you search up Jupyter, again, it's just called Jupyter, it's by Microsoft, you download it, and it's what we call an extension pack. So it downloads a bunch of other things that you need alongside. So those two things you will need on both Mac and on Windows. On Windows in specific, we are using Windows Subsystem for Linux, so we're gonna search up VS Code, WSL setup, and it's going to tell us to install the WSL extension. So I'm just gonna search that up here, WSL. It's again gonna be WSL by Microsoft. You install that. All of these things you will need to do. Just a note for the Windows users, so on the bottom right, it tells you, are you on WSL, which is Linux, okay? It's an operating system within an operating system. It's very complicated, but whatever. If you are not, this thing won't show WSL Ubuntu, and you can click on Connect to WSL to actually do it. So those are some basic extensions that you will need before we can get started doing any work. If you have any problems, ChatGPT is a good resource, and also you can just search up, VS Code Python, VS Code WSL, and it will guide you. So people have done this billions of times. It will tell you, what you need to search up from the official website, okay? So take a pause if you need, install these extensions. So Python, Jupyter, and if you're on Windows only, then WSL. Next, once you've installed these extensions, what do you do next? The first thing is let us just look at how to create simple files, and then we'll get you working on the same files that I'm working on. So what I could do is I could open a folder, or, well, I can open a folder. For now, if you wanted, you could go here, File Explorer, and create a folder. Or the way I would recommend you do it, given that you now know how to use the terminal, you open up the terminal like so. Make sure it is opening with stuff like this, okay? So you want a bash terminal should show here. On this is a Windows concern. If you don't have bash, then double click this drop down and open up a bash terminal. Anyways, you're going to be in some folder. You can make a directory like test, and then you can go here and then open folder, or Control K, Control O, and then whatever directory I'm in, I know that I just eventually created a test directory, so I can use that. So with that out of the way, If I have created my test directory, I could open that. So I'm going to do so. Let me open up my, let's say, git test directory for now. And I can get started by, you'll probably have an empty directory, but whatever. I can create a new file like this. So let's say I created hello.txt. That already exists. Let's say trying.txt. And then it says, hey, you can type stuff here. So I'm typing stuff. Save the file. And then it's saved. Again, I can open up a terminal. I'm going to be using the shortcuts, but if you don't know the shortcuts, I'm just showing it for now. And I can here run, git status, I can run git add, git commit, all of the things we learned about. In addition, I can run the Python 3, create a virtual environment. I can run source.venv bin activate to activate the virtual environment. Then I'll see this show up. I can deactivate it, things like that. I can pip install stuff, so like pip install requests, for example, and so on and so on. So as you can see, these are some basic functionalities. You can create folders via this Explorer. You can create new files. You can, type into your terminal, things like that. What you're wondering about is, how do I get started? So the special type of file that you need to create for a notebook, like we did on Kaggle here, is what we call an ipynb file. I don't know why it's called that. It's a fancy name. So what we do is we create a new file called test.ipynb, like this, ipynb. It opens it up, and then you can, do what we just did. So we can create Markdown. This is text. Again, Control Enter to save. Then we can do code, print hello, Control Enter to save. When you try to run it, it's going to tell you to select a kernel. This is just it asking, hey, where do I look for the packages you installed? And that's why we needed to talk about virtual environments. So just for the sake of this demo, I'm going to create an entirely new virtual environment just to make sure you guys are comfortable with that process, because you're going to need to do it a lot. So I'm going to deactivate my current environment. I'm going to do python 3-m venv, let's say notebook env. So it's going to create a notebook env folder, as you see here. As you can see, VSCode is intelligent. It's already offering to, work with me here. So I can go to my notifications and let's just say yes, okay? I'm going to select that environment. I'm also going to activate it over here. So source, notebook, env, bin, activate, like we learned about in the last video. And we can see it's activated. And over here, we're going to again select kernel, Python environments, and then it's offering me, okay, you can go here. I see you have a .venv, or you can go here. You have a notebook env environment that you just created. So for this sake, I'm just going to go with notebook env. And now we can control enter, press this play button. It might give you an error like this, ipykernel, so you can click install. What I'd also do, I don't really trust it doing stuff for me, sometimes it messes up, is I'm going to run pip install and then ipykernel myself. Okay, it's already installed here, so you can see we got hello. So these are the basics of how you are going to need to work with Python on your local computer. So with these VS Code files, ipynb, you can create them. We also taught you how to git clone, so you can download the GitHub repository. So you can go to full what's AI. You can go here, you can run git clone, git clone this URL, download that URL, open up that folder, and work from, let's say, you check out to workshop 3, you can work from any of these files as well. So those are the basic tools that you need to succeed with running code on your computer. Hopefully, you're able to figure that out. Again, many people have done it. Yes, it can be confusing. Search things up. AI can help. But otherwise, I will see you at the next workshop where we actually explore Python structure, not just here's how we set up a bunch of stuff so we can type out Python.